You are listening to the Digital Parent Podcast with your host, Ced Lewis.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Digital Parent Podcast. So this episode, we're going to kick off the month of October, which is National Bully Prevention Month. And we're going to talk about cyberbullying and how students have become upstanders in their school. And we're going to do this by giving you the top 10 tips to stand up against cyberbullying. And we got this information from our good friends at the Cyberbullying Research Institute. They gave us this great list that I want to go over on this podcast because I really think it would give you guys those 10 tips that you need to prevent this type of behavior and really will empower you for this new school year. So let's get straight into the tips. Tip number 1, always report cyberbullying to school officials. What we do now is that most school systems have some type of anonymous tip line. And you usually can find it on your school's website page. It's usually on the left-hand side or right-hand side. If you don't see it there, you can always go to your school district page and find that information. We want to make sure that we always report the bullying that may be taking place in our school. And that's very important because we really want our schools to have a great reputation, because if we're trying to go to college as students, we do know that if bullying and other negative things are happening in the school system, it really tarnishes the reputation of the school and also impacts our resume. So we want to make sure we always report this type of behavior. Tip number 2, you want to collect any type of evidence of any type of cyberbullying or bullying behavior. So if it's cyberbullying, you want to make sure that you take some screenshots on your cell phone, that you screenshot all of the negative information, all the negative comments, all of the harassment. If it's happening in person, you want to make sure that you audio record the information. Usually most cell phones have some type of app where, it's a hidden app on the front of the phone where you can push a button and you can record what's going on around you. So if you see bullying, you want to record what's happening so that you can turn that information into your school officials. Once you collect that information, either through like a screenshot or recording, you want to find some type of storage system, like a cloud-based storage system where you can upload the information. So that could either be Dropbox or that could be like a Google Drive account. You want to upload the information so it's safe and secure, that you can turn that over to school officials. Tip number 3, you want to report any type of online cyberbullying to apps that type of behavior takes place on. So, most, huge social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, they have their own online reporting system where if you see somebody that's engaging in that type of negative behavior, you can flag it or you can report it. You always want to make sure you can do that because you want to make sure that these large companies can track what's going on their platforms and also delete those accounts, because if one person is bullying somebody, probably bullying multiple people at the same time. So you want to get that stuff shut down. So always report the bullying behavior to the site is taking place on. The 4th step is that you always want to talk to a trusted adult. So if you see somebody being bullied online, or if you hear about somebody being bullied, if there's a rumor going around your school, talk to an adult. If you don't feel comfortable talking to a teacher, talk to your parents. If you don't feel comfortable talking to your parents, you talk to an older sibling that may be in college, or maybe you have a younger uncle, younger aunt that may be in their 20s that, they're very tech savvy. Talk to somebody you're comfortable with. Let them know what's going on so you can get off your chest, and they can kind of help you strategize how to report this and how to take the next step. Tip number 5, demonstrate care. You want to make sure that you show empathy to the person that's being cyberbullied. This could be very harmful to the victim, getting these harassing text messages or getting these explicit images sent to them or all the name calling. That could be very hurtful. So you want to make sure that, you are showing that person a lot of love, a lot of support. You want to check on from day to day. You want to send them very positive text messages, very encouraging text messages. The more hate they get, the more love you want to send back. And by doing that, you really build them up and you should support them. Because we do know that cyberbullying sometimes leads to suicide. You've all seen it in the news. So you never know what type of pain somebody's dealing with from this behavior. So do all you can to show love back to the person that's being bullied. So tip number 6 is that you want to work together with other people to support the person that's being bullied. So if you know somebody that's being cyberbullied, get a bunch of your friends together and really have a full court press of positivity towards the person who's sending the negative information out. And the reason you should do this is a lot of times people who are involved in bullying have low self-esteem, or they're dealing with some type of abuse. It could be physical abuse that's taking place in the home, or maybe their parents are very emotionally abusive towards them, and they're reacting and abusing other people. You may have heard your parents say, hurt people hurt people. So that's what usually happens with a bully. So what you want to do is you want to get your friends together. You want to send like a lot of love towards the bullying, because sometimes that can be powerful enough to stop that negative behavior. Tip 7, tell the bully to stop. Now, you may think this is very simple. It is very simple, but it also is very powerful. The reason it's powerful is most research shows that when it comes to controlling behaviors with teens listen to other teens first before they listen to their parents, other trusted adults, school officials. I've seen many occasions where kids have been bullied online, and the only person that was able to stop it was another student. Even though school officials got involved, it only took one other student to stand up and say, hey, stop this, and the bully, stopped the behavior. That's how powerful you guys are. You may not think it, but just by you telling a bully, stop, this is stupid, somebody's going to get in trouble, is enough for a bully to stop the behavior. So always tell a bully to stop if you see it, and get other people to tell them to stop as well. That can be powerful enough to prevent that behavior. Tip number 8, do not encourage cyberbullying. Whatever you do, do not share this negativity. Don't engage in comments. Don't jump on like the posts or the wall of posts and make little snide remarks. Because if you join in, you're just as bad as a cyberbully. So whatever you do, don't engage in it. Don't encourage it. Do not promote it. And the other thing about this very important is because remember, I talked in the beginning of this episode about how, cyberbullying impacts, people's ability to go to school. If you are online, if you're engaging in cyberbullying, even if you're not a bully, but you're coming in those posts, hey, that stuff lives forever on the internet. It's permanent. And some school admission officers will look at that and make a judgment on your character and make a determination if you're somebody they want in their school. So it can be very harmful to you if you participate in this type of negativity online. So whatever you do, do not encourage it, don't share it, don't participate in it. Tip number 9, make sure you stay safe. Whatever you do, do not send any threats back, because what we do know is a lot of times what happens online takes place offline. There's been many situations where I've talked to principals where things happen over the weekend, different comments took place online, different people making insults, threats. Guess what? That following Monday, a fight took place, or somebody pulled a gun on somebody. So there's real life consequences of things that are being said online. So you have to make sure that you're safe. You don't participate. You don't say anything stupid that could get you hurt or get you shot, because those are real life stories that are happening now in our school systems. Tip number 10, don't give up. I always think about creative ways of things you could do to stop cyberbullying. Brainstorm with other kids in your class. Use your talents to prevent this behavior. You guys have the answers. Sometimes it's not with the old folks like myself or school administration. You guys can come up with some creative, positive ways to prevent this behavior. Just put your heads together and come up with it. I know you can do it. So let's give a quick recap of these top 10 tips. Tip number 1, always report cyberbullying to the school. Tip number 2, collect your evidence. Tip number 3, report the cyberbullying to some type of site. Tip number 4, always talk to a trusted adult. Tip number 5, demonstrate care and empathy towards the bully. Tip number 6, work together with another team to send a whole bunch of praise towards the bully. Tip number 7, tell the bully to stop. Tip number 8, don't encourage it, don't promote it. Tip number 9, make sure you stay safe. And tip number 10, don't ever give up. These are some of the great tips from our friends at the Cyberbullying Research Institute. I hope you guys can use these at your school to kind of be upstanders instead of bystanders. You can prevent this behavior, which will only increase your school reputation, which will increase your reputation when it comes to getting a job or going to college. So if you're listening to this podcast on YouTube, please leave us a comment below. Let me know if we left a tip, or let me know of a creative way you use to stop bullying at your school. Or if you listen to this on Digital Parent Podcast, rate us on iTunes and let us know what you think. Until the next time.